Alright, so what I have is, this is my 335 BMW. It's 2008 N54 engine. And I'm always doing little maintenance stuff on it. Last couple of days it had been leaking coolant and I couldn't figure out where. And then I drove it home one day. Oh, this was yesterday. I went to work. And the water pump literally has a crack. Probably about the size of about an inch and a half. And no matter what I did, I was like, man, where's this water coming from? And I couldn't figure out why, because I had just got a brand new thermostat housing, new hoses. So I was just like, well, last but not least is going to be the water pump. And of course, I didn't want to eat that price of $500 for a water pump. So the guy at the auto parts store said, well, why don't you just go ahead and slap some sealant in it. Well, the problem is that my radiator is new too, because as we all know, everything that's plastic on this thing that has to do with the coolant cracks. So nah, I said I'm not gonna do that. So I brought it home, watching the temperature of the engine just to make sure that I wasn't overheating with my smaller scan tool. And so while I was here, I said, well, you know what, let me go ahead and replace the front main seal, because it seemed like it was leaking. It's like everything on this darn thing is leaking. So I've already replaced the usual stuff, the oil filter housing. I replaced all the seals on there so it stayed dry. What I noticed is that when I was at about 8,000 miles into the oil change, that the oil filter cap was or not, the oil filter cap was seeping a little bit on the sides. So then I put a new PCV valve in it, and then that helped. After that, I really didn't have too much of an issue. And then I did the oil change and everything sealed back up. Then I did the the serpentine belt tensioner pulley and assembly, and put a new belt on it. So fix that. And then in the meantime, I noticed that my power steering pump pulley had a crack across the back, so I fixed that. So it's like, good lord, are you serious? And this is my my mobile rig. Like, this is what I use to go and do mobile mechanic stuff, which some people say, dude, are you crazy? But I don't care. I didn't pay a lot of money for this car, so whoever had it, they did like zero maintenance on it. So I remember when I did the spark plugs on it, I pulled the coils and half the boots broke, so I had to buy new coils. Threw some new spark plugs at it, did the oil change. And so long story short, had the good old welcoming of a BMW that really wasn't maintained. So I'm hoping that these last few tidbits settle it up. Now, what I'm really making this video about, though, is that I buy a lot of parts from everywhere, and this will be the first time I've actually done the water pump on this thing. I already took the water pump out, and I went to O'Reilly's and I ordered a new water pump. And I was just like, well, if the plastic housings are always breaking, then I'm just gonna have to get one that has lifetime warranty. So if I have to replace it again, I'll just take it off and pop a new one back on. Well, I was pleasantly surprised when I opened up the box, and this is what I found. So there's the old water pump. It has a crack right across the seam, across here and around the bolt, so that's where it was leaking at. But this is the new one. Now, when you first glimpse at it, I'm thinking, oh, somebody painted that, like it's aluminum paint. No, this is aluminum. They made the whole housing out of aluminum. It's literally the same exact water pump. You notice the plugs in the front. Physically everything is the same, except for there seems to be some reinforcing on the sides. I know I'm in the shadow right now. Granted, it does say made in China, but let me see if I can get out of there. But if you look, I mean, it's physically the same. So then I was like, nah, somebody painted this, like it has to be painted. So then what I did, as I looked, and let's see if I can get it to focus. And you can tell, you can see on the lip, it's machined right here. On the inside, it's beveled. So I said, well, what else, how else can I figure out if it is or not? And what I did was, let me see if I can find the mark. What I did was I took a razor blade and cleared a chunk, little tiny sliver, right there in the center of that picture. And yes, folks, this is aluminum. So apparently I'm not going to have to replace this thing anymore. It's a, this is who manufactures it. It's import direct. I don't know exactly who manufactures it, but it's one came from O'Reilly's. See, it says distributed by Ozark Automotive Distributors. So I'm assuming it's an O'Reilly's brand. But now it's all about seeing the longevity of it, because if you look at the different areas of this, it's a little beefier. And I say that because if you look at the top of the snail right here, it seems like it has a little bit more extra metal in it, and this Continental one does not have that. Let's see. Another thing is, like, it's like a direct bolt-on, like exactly the same, except for it's not made out of plastic. So I know there's a lot of guys that were kind of worrying about that. One of the other things I noticed too is that if you look, there's that shadow again. If you look right here, there's the metal is a little taller than it is of the plastic right here. So it seems like as if they added a little bit more material. I mean, we're talking about half a millimeter, maybe a whole millimeter, but you know what, that makes the difference, especially in aluminum. But it does look a little bit like it's gonna last longer. So I just know there's a lot of guys out there right now that are running around with these crappy ass Continental ones with the plastic housings, and to let you guys know that now there's an aftermarket pump that is being manufactured. The snail part is being manufactured out of hard plastic, not hard plastic, out of aluminum. See, I suck making at these videos, but I just thought I'd show you guys the differences. Of course, if it doesn't work once I put it again, I'm not going to be a happy camper, but hey, right at this point I have nothing to lose. So it's either buy another Continental online for $350 or spend $400 and get the one with the aluminum and lifetime warranty. Whereas if I bought this for $350, I'm gonna have to jump through hoops to get it sent back. It's like, it's all bad. So I guess they finally found a solution to this problem. All right, you guys, have fun.